The valley of Elah lay open beneath a merciless sun, scorched and silent, like an old wound that refused to heal. Two armies faced each other across the broken land, frozen in a tension so thick it felt alive. On one ridge, Israel's fighters crouched behind rough defenses, their handmade banners hanging lifeless in the still air. Across the valley, the Philistines stood in disciplined formation, iron armor catching the light, shields painted and cold, their ranks unshaken. Between them stretched a wide strip of desolation, cracked earth, scattered stone, and swirling dust. No grass dared grow there. For 40 days, this scene had repeated itself without change. No clash of steel, no trumpet blast. War had been reduced to waiting. The Philistines had rewritten the rules. Instead of advancing an army, they unleashed fear itself. Each day their champion stepped forward. The Israelites watched the empty valley with dread, not the enemy camp. Their courage leaked away hour by hour, replaced with a heavy, helpless silence. Wind whispered across spear tips. Metal clicked nervously. A nation held its breath, hoping for bravery that never arrived. Then movement rippled through the Philistine lines. Goliath emerged. He was not merely tall, he was overwhelming, a giant shaped like a living fortress. Bronze scales covered his body, gleaming like the hide of some ancient beast. His spear looked more like a tree than a weapon, its iron head heavy with promise of death. Before him walked a shield-bearer, dwarfed by the door-sized shield he carried. Goliath reached the center of the valley and planted his feet. When he spoke, the ground seemed to listen. "Choose one man. Let him come down to me. If he kills me, we will serve you. If I kill him, you will serve us." The challenge echoed up the ridges. The terms were simple, absolute. The Israelites measured him with frightened eyes, his shoulders, his neck, the way he leaned casually on his spear as if it weighed nothing. With every word, their resolve sank deeper into the dust. Inside his tent, King Saul sat unmoving. His royal armor lay unused beside him, brilliant and useless. His hands pressed against his temples, as though he could push the fear out of his mind. He had promised great rewards, wealth, freedom from taxes, his daughter's hand, but those promises now mocked him. No one stepped forward. "Is there no one?" he whispered. Silence answered. Fear had crowned itself king. Not Saul, fear ruled the camp, seated across the valley in bronze and arrogance. Miles away in Bethlehem, Jesse packed food with the quiet worry of a father. Bread, roasted grain, cheese, simple offerings for his sons serving in Saul's army. Stories had reached of a deadlock and of a giant. "David," he called. The youngest appeared, sunlit and alert, shepherd's staff in hand. His eyes were bright, his face open. "Take this to your brothers," Jesse said. "See how they are." David obeyed at once. He slung the bundle over his shoulder, took his staff and his sling, tools of pasture, not battlefield, and left his sheep behind. His steps were light as he walked toward the distant sound of something vast and troubled. The camp struck him like a storm. Sweat, fear, murmurs, clanking armor. His brothers stood among the soldiers, stiff and tense in borrowed gear. "What are you doing here?" Eliab snapped. Who did you leave those few sheep with?" David said nothing. As he unpacked the food, a hush fell. The ground trembled. David pushed forward until he could see. Goliath stood in the valley again, huge, terrifying, but David's eyes moved past the giant to Israel's ranks. He saw trained warriors staring at the ground, hands gripping weapons, not in readiness but in fear. They weren't soldiers anymore. They were spectators. Something burned in David's chest. "What will be done for the man who defeats him?" David asked. The soldiers muttered Saul's rewards. David's voice rose. "Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?" Eliab exploded in anger. "I know your heart. You came to watch." David looked at him, genuinely confused. "What have I done? Was it not just a question? Is there not a cause?" The words lingered. Soon David was brought before Saul, a shepherd, dusty and young, standing before a weary king. "Do not let anyone lose heart," David said calmly. "I will fight him." Saul saw only youth. "You cannot," he replied. "He has been a warrior from his youth." David answered with a story, not an argument. Lions, bears, a shepherd refusing to let any lamb be taken. Strength learned in solitude, deliverance learned through trust. "The Lord who rescued me then will rescue me now." Saul hesitated, then nodded. "Go, and may the Lord be with you." He dressed David in royal armor, but it swallowed him. He took a few steps, then stopped. He removed it all. "I cannot fight with these," he said simply. Instead, he went to a stream. He chose 5 smooth stones and placed them in his pouch. Sling in hand, staff steady, he walked into the valley. Goliath laughed. "Am I a dog that you come at me with a stick?" David kept moving. "You come with sword and spear," David called out, his voice clear. "But I come in the name of the Lord of hosts." He spoke not just to the giant, but to the world watching. "The battle belongs to the Lord." The sling spun, once, twice. The stone flew. It struck true. The giant fell. Silence crashed over the valley, then erupted into thunder. Israel surged forward in victory. Fear broke, chains shattered. David stood where no one else would. The giant's story ended that day. David's had only just begun.